In this video, you will learn how to manipulate some of the required elements on your home page. For this tutorial, you'll need to have your color palette and font families at hand in order to complete the tutorial accurately. To get started, you'll need to set up your tab structure in the following way. First, open a tab in your web browser that has your dashboard on display as you see here on the screen. Next, you'll need to open up a new tab by either selecting Command-T to open up a new tab or just clicking the plus symbol here to open up a new tab, depending on what web browser you're using. In this new tab, you'll need to open another page with your digital portfolio site. So in my case, that's fsbizsite.com/full sale. Now you have your dashboard opened in one tab, and you have the front end of your website opened in another tab. Open up yet another tab and navigate to unsplash.com. Open another tab and navigate to youtube.com. Now you have your tab structure in the correct format. Okay, let's get started. First, go to Pages on the left menu and select All Pages. Here, you'll need to locate and click on your home page. Now you'll need to click the Edit with Elementor blue button. This is going to open up the Elementor user interface. You will use the Elementor user interface to manipulate all of the pages throughout your digital portfolio website. As a brief overview, each component in Elementor will be highlighted by a little blue line whenever you mouse over a component. And so as you can see here, as I mouse over the title, it's outlined in blue. And then as I mouse over this space, it's also outlined in blue. That's because this is an actual component. That is called a spacer. Down below, you have text. And then down below that, you have another spacer. And below that, you have the call to action button. Behind all of this content, you will see this video playing as B-roll in the background. You can make this either a video or a still image. And in this video, I'll show you how to do both. You'll also notice that the entire element here, the welcome header with call to action, is all outlined in blue. So when you have the background image, there's going to be a tab structure that comes up here in the editing mode. You have a plus sign, 6 bullet points, and then the X symbol. Those will come in handy as you continue to develop your digital portfolio website. Okay, to get started, first you'll need to change the header. And in order to do so, just click anywhere within the header text. Now you'll notice on the left side that the menu option pane actually changes to correspond with where your cursor is on the right side. So for instance, watch this left pane very carefully when I click over down here for the call to action button. Now you'll notice that the entire menu option has changed. That will happen depending on whatever component your cursor is currently clicked on. So let's change that header text. For the sake of the Full Sale brand, monetizing emotional connections actually works really well. So I am not going to change it. However, you will need to change it. So in the left pane here, you just simply type in whatever you want. Think about your mantra. Think about what people need to know about you. Think about what message you want to convey and try to convey it within 3 to 5 words. Any more than 5 words will just be too much header text. So get to the point in a concise manner, like monetizing emotional connections. Okay, I'm going to delete that to get it back to our original header. Okay. The next element that you will change is the body font that sits below the header. So click anywhere within that component, and then you'll notice that the edit field here changes to correspond with where your cursor is on the right. In this area here, you'll want to describe a little bit about what this website is. So the visitor has come to your homepage for the first time. They don't know anything about you. What are they about to learn? Where should they go? What should they know about you? What have you been studying? What do you specialize in? Essentially, how and why do you do what you do? Give them some excitement as to what they're about to find out by reviewing your digital portfolio site. For this exercise, I've actually pre-written some of my text. So I'm going to copy that text and place it in to give you an idea of what type of information should go here. Okay, so here you can read, for the past 2 years, I've been studying sports marketing and media at Full Sail University with the goal of working with the X Games by 2020. So already you know when you visit this site, the individual is interested in high energy alternative sports like that are found in the X Games. You also know what they've been doing for the past 2 years. They've been studying sports marketing and media at Full Sail University. So you're giving the visitor a good idea of who they're meeting. It goes on to say, during my time at Full Sail, I cultivated skills and partnerships that are highly sought after in the sports entertainment industry. I also developed several projects that showcase my knowledge and experience as an aspiring public relations director for the X Games. Now you're telling the visitor what you're aspiring to be. So think about different positions that you would like to hold after graduation. The text goes on to say, you can download my final project called the PR Playbook by clicking the button below. Now, if you're watching this, it's very likely that you're in Project and Portfolio 1, so you have a lot of time ahead of you before you're getting to your final project. However, you can change this to read whatever you'd like. Maybe you'd like to focus on the personal brand video that you develop in Project and Portfolio 1. Maybe you did a really great job on your creative presentation assignment in a previous course, and that's what you would like to showcase. Whatever you want the visitor to know about you, make it a project that you're really proud of, that exudes your knowledge and expertise in a field that you would like to be known for. Okay, so that's what you're going to put here in this text area. Below that, you'll notice a call to action button. Now, the call to action button should match what the title and the body text has just given the visitor. So in this case, they're indicating that if you click this button, you're going to be downloading the PR Playbook. So in order for the visitor to have a media file to download, we must first upload that file to our digital portfolio site. Now's where that tab comes in handy. So if you go over to the tab next to the current tab that you're on, and you go to the front end of your website, you're going to want to click the little gauge next to your name and portfolio to navigate to the dashboard of your website. Here on the left menu, you'll notice an option that says Media. And then under Media, you can add new. This is where you would add your media files. So for instance, in our case, we want the visitor to download a playbook, which would probably be a PDF file of an actual report that this individual completed in one of her classes. So you want to select files from this menu here, locate the file on your local device, make sure that it is indeed in a PDF format, and then select Open. Okay, now we have uploaded our fake presentation, or also known as our playbook, to our digital portfolio library. Now we need to find out what is the link for that particular playbook, that element that we just uploaded. So now if we go click on Library under Media on the left menu, we will see that it's been added to our library here. And now we click on it, and that'll open up another page. Here you'll see a preview of the file that you uploaded, and on the right, you're going to see URL. This URL is where you want the visitor to go when they click the call to action button. So we need to highlight the entire URL and Command C to copy the URL. All right, now we're ready to link up that call to action button. So let's go back to the other tab where we're in the Elementor user interface manipulating our homepage. And when we click in this area here for our call to action button, you'll notice that there's an option that says link on the left menu pane. You're going to Command V to paste that link to the media file. Now, whenever somebody clicks on download the playbook, it's going to open up a new tab that allows the visitor to download the actual media file, the playbook that we just uploaded to our site. Okay. If you wanted to change the text on the call to action button, which you will, You will do that by going up here where it says text and simply change that to whatever you want. Things like watch my video or read my report. You're calling the person to an action. So usually there's a verb involved. Again, in our case, it's just going to be download the playbook. Okay. The other thing that you're going to want to do is you're going to want to change the color, because the orange, the Full Sail orange, and the soft accent orange and grays are not part of your color palette. So this is where your color palette will come in handy. Under Style in the top center up here on the left pane, click on Style, and now you'll notice that you're given a whole new option to manipulate the call to action button. You can change the typography, and you should change the typography. So your two font families, you have the title text font, as you see up here, and then you have the body text font, as you see here. And that body text font usually works pretty good for your call to action buttons as well. Okay, so you'll want to click on typography and then change this to be some other font that you have already chosen. So as you can see, whenever you click the font family and then you start typing in your font, it will change the menu to go directly to that. Otherwise, you're going to be scrolling for quite some time to locate your font in alphabetical order. Okay, so go ahead and click on it and then start typing in what your font is, and the menu jumps right down to it. So I'm going to change it back to Roboto. You can also change the size by simply clicking larger or smaller by clicking the down arrow, right? I'm going to leave it at 21. You can change the weight of the text. You can also change and transform the text. So here you see it's been transformed to uppercase. Look what happens if I change it to lowercase. Everything on the button changes to lowercase. Capitalize will just capitalize the first letter of each word. You could have it as normal, however it was typed into the text box. And I'm going to change it back to uppercase, which would change every letter to uppercase. Okay, so those are a few ways that you can manipulate the text. And then furthermore, under text color, you'll want to change that to perhaps a pure white, which would be 6Fs for the hex code here. Or you want to change it to some color that is found on your color palette. So let's open our color palette. And here you can see that I have a lot of different options to choose from. I have my primary color, which you will also have a primary color. You'll also have a call to action color. In my case, that's this bright orange. You'll have two accent colors, which usually complement either the primary or the call to action. And then you'll have a background color, which you can use as the background color of your entire website if you wish, or certain sections of your website that aren't going to distract from the content on top of that background section. For the sake of this exercise, I'm going to use this soft gray hex code. So as always, if you copy that hex code with Command C and then navigate back to your site, you can Command V to paste it here and change that color. Then for the background color of the button, you can change that to be whatever you would like. Just simply click on there on the color palette, opens up the color palette, and then select whatever color is your call to action color. Make sure that it is your call to action color here. So again, in my case, it's this bright orange. So I'm going to copy that and navigate back to my website, and I'll paste that here. Now, since it's already orange, you're not going to see any changes, but just for the sake of this exercise, I will click a different color, and you'll notice that it changes the color of the call to action button, right? And then if you move this around, you can change the color that way as well. You can also change how transparent the color is by simply dragging this down to be more and more and more transparent. As you can see, that kind of fades into the background a bit more. Perhaps that works for a design component to your website. Again, for mine, I'm going to leave it nice and solid. And then I'm going to go back to my hex code by pasting that here. Okay, that's how you change the color. Now, you'll also notice that when I hover over the button, to let the visitor know that they are about to take an action, it's good to change the hover color to your buttons as well. And the way that you do that is you click on hover, and then that changes your menu options. And now you'll want to just simply change the text color and the background color of your call to action button to be something different than the normal color. So normally it's this solid orange for me, my call to action orange. My text is a soft gray. Under hover, you'll notice that my text turns to the call to action orange. And then the background turns to that one of the accent oranges that I've selected. So if you go back to my color palette here, you could see that this very soft accent orange was the hex color that I used for the background color when you hover over it. Again, that's a nice element that you can add to let the visitor know that this is indeed a call to action button that you can click and you're about to take an action. Okay, so that's how you manipulate the call to action button, the text, and the title. One more thing regarding the title. Under title, the edit pane works exactly the same way. You select style, and then you can change the text color. You can change the typography for your text as well. For your digital portfolio work, you'll need to make sure that you are using the font families that you discovered in the Getting Started component to developing your digital portfolio. You'll also need to use your color palette, and it has to be consistent throughout your website. That's very important for design purposes, for the user experience, as well as the branding for your personal brand on your digital portfolio website. Okay, now the last thing that we're going to do for this tutorial is change this background image. Right now, it is a video. It's a video. It's playing B-roll of a busy metropolitan street. The way that you change the background is by clicking, right-clicking on this center tab. When you mouse over it, you're going to have these 3 tabs that show up in the center. You'll have 6 little dots. Go ahead and right-click, and there's a menu that pops out. You'll want to select Edit Section. That is going to change your left pane menu again to edit this background video. If you go under Style, you'll notice that the background is a video. So you can actually make it a still image, which would be under Classic. You could make it a gradient color, or you could make it a video, and you have it by default as a video. Now, to change this video to be more applicable to your personal brand, you'll want to go to YouTube and find B-roll that matches your personal brand. So for Fully Sailing, she has indicated here that she is interested in being a PR director for the X Games. So perhaps some type of aggressive alternative sport playing in the background might work well for us. So let's go to YouTube and let's search for skateboarding, perhaps. And then if you search B-roll after whatever it is that you're looking for, you're going to find some good footage that would not be distracting from your content that sits on top of this background video. So I'm going to search skateboard B-roll, and I have no idea what these videos are about to show, so I hope everything's good. I have looked at this one before, so I'm going to go ahead and select what I know, right? And as you can see here, skip ad. Okay, we got some good B-roll, and in order to select this video, you're going to select the share button. Okay, share, and that's going to open up this window, and you want to copy that YouTube link and then go back to your digital portfolio site, okay, where it says video link over here. You highlight all of that, delete that link, okay, and then Command V to paste that video. And now you'll see that the video is going to play automatically in the background. Now, because the very beginning was just text about skateboarding, and you can see here that it's distracting from my call to action, it's distracting from my text, it's distracting from my title. I need to soften the background to make it a little bit darker so that the white text isn't lost on whatever video is playing. You can also change the start time and the end time. So the start time can actually increase to maybe be somewhere around 15 seconds, perhaps, and that'll get right to the skateboarding components of the video. And then the end time, maybe we just shorten that to be somewhere around, I think 70 actually may have worked pretty good. So you'll have to go back to the video and see what time is a good time to end the video before it gets to like credits or something of that nature. Okay. To soften this background and put a background overlay on it, you just select background overlay. So before I was here, I select background overlay and then put a color on top and change the opacity. Okay. And by changing the opacity, you can see here that if I make it a little bit more solid, that's going to really darken that background video and allow my text to pop off the screen. So the background video really remains background and it's not distracting to the viewer to read the text. So I'm going to make it really dark, almost completely solid. And in that way, the background video is just playing in the background and it's not distracting. Okay, the color here as the overlay, you'll notice that I have my default primary army green color. But if I selected another color, just to give you an idea, look how that changes, right? And then a blue, that's how that would look, and so forth. Again, you're going to need your color palette and select your primary color to put as the overlay to your video. So you just copy that hex code, Command C to copy it, navigate back, and plant that hex code, Command V in this box, and it changes to be consistent with the colors throughout your website. Okay? And that's how you change this to be a video. Let's say that you can't really find a video that works for background, and maybe you're not into having a video play. You just think that's just too distracting no matter what it is. Perhaps a still image is the best option for your website. In order to do that, you'll need to navigate back to background, okay? And then instead of the background video option, you want to select the little paintbrush that says classic. Click on that. This way you can just change it to a solid color. So I can make it my primary color, that army green, okay? Or I can put an image in the background. Okay, to source an image, you would go to unsplash.com. And once more, I'm going to choose skateboarding. Okay, and you would want to select an image that won't distract from the text that you have on top. So think about where the image might be located. Maybe you have more of the image off to the left or off to the right, but you wouldn't want a lot right in the center. So think through the design components there as well. What is it actually going to look like behind your text? Let's say that this one wouldn't be all that distracting. And if we like what we see here as far as skateboarding, we can click on that. And again, just select an image that works well for your personal brand. Okay. I'm going to try to make it this one here where you actually see a person skateboarding. So let's see if we can do that. Clicking the photograph, you'll get a new window that says download free. Go ahead and download the photograph. And I'm going to rename it just so I can locate it faster, skateboard, and save it to your local device. Now, as always, Unsplash provides high resolution photographs. So you're going to need to resize the photograph. To learn how to do that, follow along closely or watch the Unsplash resizing video and the Start Here option on the Help Center. Okay, let's go ahead and locate our image and open it up using Preview. And under Preview, you want to select Tools, Adjust Size. And now you can see how large this photograph really is. 5 megabytes is really too big to have. That's going to take a long time to load when a visitor visits our website. So we need to change that to something much more manageable. Since it is a background image that we're using in our header, we're going to select something a little bit larger, but not as large as it currently is. So we're going to select the 1280 1024. Now you'll notice that it went from 4.4 megabytes to only 234 kilobytes, much, much smaller and manageable to load when a visitor comes to our website. Okay, now we want to select OK. And now Command S to save it, or you can go to File and then Save the file as a smaller file size. Okay, now it's ready to be uploaded to our digital portfolio website. If you go back to the Elementor component and under background, you want to go to image and click the plus sign. Now we need to upload that skateboarding image. So we select files, locate the skateboarding image that we just got done resizing, click open, and now it will be uploaded to our digital portfolio site as you see here. Since it's checked, we insert media, blue button in the bottom right. And now you can see that that file has been embedded as our background image. Now, because the file doesn't actually span the entire distance of our header space up here, it's being tiled by default. And so we'll need to adjust the position, perhaps the attachment, repeat, and size of our video, or sorry, of our image in order to make it just right. So under position, change it to center and see how it changes the picture. That's a little bit better. We could like that, but again, it's distracting from our text. So let's see what happens if we make it bottom right. That is a little bit better because it's the skateboarder kind of coming off to the side. Another thing that you can change is attachment. And by the attachment by default is default. Go figure. But let's see what happens when we select fixed. When we fix and we scroll down, it fixes the image as a background. So it's a really cool effect for the visitor to see the image stay in place while the text is running on top of it. It's a very modern look. So I'm going to have fixed for mine. And then under repeat, we want to change that to no repeat. Okay, so now you can see that repeat, the tile effect, that's gone away. And now under size, instead of default, we want to select cover. And now you can see that the image actually covers the entirety of our background. And if we scroll, it's fixed in the background, so it's going to stay put. And because we have such a dark overlay, it's not as distracting to our content, but you do kind of get the effect. You see that there's a guy holding a skateboard, he's skateboarding. So it's a pretty cool effect that's not distracting from our text, our call to action, and our header. So we're going to leave that as is. Okay, now that we've made changes, we simply select the update green button at the bottom. Whenever you make changes, always make sure that you are selecting this button, click this button before you navigate off the page. This way your changes will be saved. Okay, so we're clicking update. Now that our changes have been updated, we can navigate out of this by clicking the hamburger menu in the left and then selecting exit to dashboard here. Great, let's check out the work that we produced. If we go to our home icon in the top left next to our name and select that, that's going to bring us to the front end of our website, and we can see all the work that we just got done completing. There's our new title, the text, the call to action. The image in the background is not the people walking in a metropolitan area anymore video. Instead, we have a still image, and look, it's fixed in the background. So it's a really cool effect when people scroll. And last but certainly not least, we have the big reveal of the call to action button. I want this playbook, so I'm going to click download the playbook, and voila, the visitor has the option to download the playbook. They can scan through it directly on their web browser, depending on which web browser they're using, and then they can download the book to their local device. And there you have it. Now you know how to change the welcome header and call to action required element on your homepage.